Hello, welcome to Local Anaesthetic Podcast, the most trusted name in local news. My name is Alex, and joining us, after having safely returned from his trip to Canada, I believe, is Rob. How you doing there, Rob?
Hello, folks. Yes, I'm very well, Alex. Not too bad at all.
And this is just because we do like to, kick off with the formalities. This is episode
281.
Are you sure?
Yeah, 281. Yeah, because I posted 280.
Okay, this is episode 281, and listeners will have observed that the last two episodes, we really, I did one on my own, you did one on your own, and now we're back together, Rob.
Yeah, it hasn't been that long. It's been a couple of weeks, so maybe it has been, but
it feels long.
It wasn't. It does feel long.
It really feels long. I don't know why that is. Yeah. But we haven't actually discussed any of this off air. We thought we'd keep it fresh for the podcast. But how was Canada? Because obviously you were imposing yourself on relatives of Sarah for 2 weeks.
That's right.
And by the end of it, were they eager for you to leave?
I certainly didn't get that impression, I have to say. They were very accommodating. Most of the time we were being chauffeured around. And I've made some big decisions, and I'm moving to Canada. I wanted to save it for the podcast and let the listeners be the first to know.
Is that true, Rob?
I honestly could live out there. I like the pace of life. The winters might be slightly harsh. It gets down to minus 30.
Slightly harsh, yeah. So that's the thing. That's the thing, you see. All of these places. I remember when I went to Chicago, I really loved it there, but bloody hell, the winters are bad. But obviously, but the other problem is, you see, with America and Canada, you always think that, because I've been to Canada once and I've been to America countless times, but each time I've been there, you always think, oh, you know what, I could move out here to the suburbs, get a nice big house. But actually, moving over to these places is not easy at all.
Well, you say that. You have to realise that obviously Sarah does have family living out there, so we would have potentially a sponsor. Her profession is on the list of desirable skilled migrants, and we're married. So in terms of the paperwork, it's already done.
It's harder than that. But,
I'm leaving.
but yeah, whereabouts were you in Canada?
So we moved around. So for the first couple of days, we stayed with Sarah's cousin in Burlington, which is just outside Toronto. So we travelled in Toronto on 2 separate days. Saw a baseball game, did the CN Tower, this and other bits and pieces. Then we moved down to St. Catharines, which is about a 15-minute drive from Niagara Falls.
Lovely.
So, yeah.
And you saw Niagara Falls, I'm assuming?
Oh, we did indeed, yeah. That was the day I got most burnt because I stupidly underestimated how hot it was.
Right, okay. So anything other to report from your, sort of, I don't know, travel correspondent reports from the time that you were out there?
The last text we exchanged before I left, I said, is there anything you'd like?
And I said I wanted a moose.
That's right. So here you go.
Oh, there you go.
Look how hideous that is.
No, I actually don't find it that hideous. It's a nice memento. It's not a real moose, unfortunately. It is a sort of stuffed toy plush moose on a keyring. It's
He has a little maple leaf on his arse, and he actually this came from the Niagara Falls gift shop.
Brilliant. I really appreciate that, mate. I'm genuinely sort of vaguely touched, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, next time I see you, which God knows when that will be, we'll exchange it. Apparently we're going for dinner at some stage, but there's no forthcoming offer. So
we've just got to do it. Then we've just got to do it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Over the summer, definitely over the next few weeks, because okay, right. I don't really have any news. Life has remained more or less the same here, Rob, apart from the fact that, we've also been enjoying lovely weather. You've come back at the right time because we're still right in the midst of it. It's going to be really hot next week. I have to be honest, I'm a little sick of it. I could do with it going down. I could do with it just going down a couple of degrees. Today was a bit nicer because it was a bit cooler, but in London, the heat...
Yeah, I think that's what's been quite nice because I've actually been able to enjoy it. So, I spent 10 days in shorts and t-shirt. It's a bit different when you're travelling on the tube and then sitting in an office, albeit air conditioned, and then leaving into this excessive humidity. It's not the same.
Can we crack on with this podcast?
Of course.
Right, Rob, so let's get straight into it. I've got a lot of stories this week. And my first story, Rob, is from the Swindon Advertiser. Now, Yeah.
This isn't acceptable, Alex. We've discussed this before.
Well, what happened was the story I came across was in the Daily Mail, and I looked, as we promised, for the local news version, and this was the local news version. So therefore, I'm hoping you haven't seen it. I'm hoping that in the 2 weeks you've been away, you've not been really reading the Swindon Advertiser.
I haven't, no.
Right. So, Farringdon. This is a headline. It's by Tom Seawood. From the 16th of July, only 2 days ago, Rob, because for the fastidious amongst you, we are recording on the 18th of July, 2019. Farringdon Postie's unusual way of delivering parcel wins viral praise.
Right.
Have you not heard about this? This is brilliant.
No.
So this did make national news, but this was the original local news story. A postman who slotted a parcel through an open upstairs window and onto a bed when there was no reply to the doorbell was hailed a terrific shot by the impressed homeowner. So basically, she weren't in and he lobbed it through the window.
We said Farringdon. Is this Farringdon Road by any chance?
I don't know. Just says Farringdon.
Okay. Well, fair enough. I mean, to be honest, I would appreciate that effort. Usually they just chuck it. I mean, in one case, I had a parcel delivered. Well, he says delivered, and it was left on. So at the front of my
I remember this.
Yeah, at the front of my flat, there's a very low wall, which is about literally a foot in height, and it was just left there. And it was a Kindle that I bought for Sarah that he thought, oh, that's fine, that's nice and safe in full view of everyone in the fucking
you
car
say
park.
That, Rob. I appreciate. Right, I got something to say right now. One of the sort of. I'm trying to think of the right word. How would you class Royal Mail service? What would you describe them as? They are a public kind of utility, really.
Well, they were, but obviously it's now been privatised. Yeah.
Yeah, but they are one of the organisations, Rob, that I appreciate most.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't know about their company ethos, but the worker on the ground, the postie on the ground, they're all great guys. I think and I appreciate them, probably because they order a lot of stuff online, and my postman is very flexible. So, because like a lot of things are signed for and all this bollocks, the amount of times you get a card through telling you've got to go to a local sorting office to pick it up. Yeah. I've got this sort of cupboard outside where I live, and my guy, I have an arrangement with him and have done for years, and the guy before him, that he knows that if I'm not in, he can just leave it there. That doesn't mean you sometimes get a rogue postman who still insists on getting that signature, but they're but they make sure that parcel is left in that cupboard, and I'm happy with that. That's the arrangement. Expensive, not expensive, I'll take the risk. I don't want to have to drive 10 minutes to the sorting office and go through that rigmarole. I do have to do it occasionally, but to me, a postman throwing, literally, Rob, this is an upstairs window.
Wow, that's quite impressive, Alex.
The incredible aim, squeezing the parcel into a relatively small opening between PVC windows, has won praise from thousands of people online. Now, Laura Chastity wants to meet the delivery person who managed to throw the padded envelope into her home rather than take it back to the Royal Mail sorting office.
Can I just ask, what was her name? Laura Chastity, is that her name?
No, I've just said it wrong. Laura Chasty.
Oh, that's a shame, because I was about to say, that sounds like a porn star.
The 27-year-old from Farringdon said she returned home from work to find a white jiffy bag on her bed. The parcel, which contained gym supplements, was addressed to her fiancé, Dale. She found a note from the Royal Mail postman who had delivered the parcel. So one of those red cards, and he'd just written on it, "Your top window is wide open, I threw it in there." And he added a smiley face after the message.
Nice.
Usually the postman puts packages by the black bin, said Laura, but the bedroom window's wide open. It made my day. It was so funny. Laura shared the story to social media accounts Snapchat and Facebook, and it's been shared 7,600 times on Facebook, with a story even ending up on the Mail Online. Boo! And that's where I found it. And she wrote, "Royal Mail has made my day." Having said that, Rob, yeah, sorry. Replying to Laura's original social media post, one woman wrote, "Good shot," another said, "Epic." One woman, though, was concerned, Rob, for the postman's career. "I really hope the post who did it doesn't get into trouble." Probably not, though. He did deliver it, after all. It reminds me, Rob, of the milk tray man.
Right, okay.
Do you remember
let's
that
see
was
where
a
you go.
sort of
I
thing?
remember.
You wouldn't be able to have that advert now, but it was a sinister individual who kind of dressed in a black polo neck, sort of James Bond type character who'd break into women's houses and leave them chocolates on their bed. I mean, I don't think you could have that in the Me Too movement now, but it is a similar kind of tangentially related version. A postman who makes sure you always get your parcel no matter what.
Yeah. Again, not a euphemism.
Yeah.
Can I just also say, I mean, let's be, if you woke up and found a stranger, albeit in a turtleneck and obviously looking very suave,
holding a box of milk tray.
Exactly, you would not touch those chocolates under any circumstance, would you?
Well, the first thing I think when I saw it, if I saw him in the room, is pervert.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, yeah.
And I'd fear for my safety. I just want to say, Rob, that the good vibe feeling of this story was punctured when a Royal Mail spokesperson came out and said, "We're happy to hear that this customer received her parcel safely in this instance. However, we do ask our postmen and women to adhere to our established procedures for delivering items of mail in order to keep the items we deliver safe and secure. We will be reminding our staff in the Farringdon area of this. Any customers with concerns about how their mail is delivered should contact Royal Mail Customer Services via royalmail.com or Twitter @RoyalMailHelp, or by calling a telephone number so we can investigate." It's really punctured. They're basically, this guy's going to get disciplined.
That's a real shame, because I would appreciate that he's gone the extra mile there.
Yeah, he has. Now, Rob, we're moving over to the Plymouth Live. I'm not again sure how I came across this. I don't know because I don't think Helen submitted it. I think maybe my dad. I don't know how I found it, but if it was you, Helen, then thank you. But I don't think it was. I'm sure she's probably submitted it in the meantime, Rob. This is, I mean, it's just a great headline. It's by Katie Timms from the 30th of June. Police called after man kicks off about gay pride gnome at Plymouth Asda.
I don't remember seeing this story.
Let me read the headline again.
Amazing.
Rob. Police called after man kicks off about gay pride gnome at Plymouth Asda.
I'm sorry. How can you get that angry? Seriously.
A man, Rob, was told to leave an Asda store by police after reportedly kicking off about a gay pride gnome. 4 police officers, Rob, 4 attended the Estover branch in Plymouth at around 4:25 p.m. on Saturday, following reports that an abusive male was shouting at staff. A shopper who was in the store at the time, presumably they wanted to remain anonymous, Rob, told Plymouth Live that the man was, in quotes, causing a disturbance over a gnome in sort of gay pride flag colours. And I'm assuming the gnome was in gay pride flag colours and not the man. It's not clear.
Yeah.
The man, Rob, was shouting at staff, saying that colourful gnomes offended him, the witness added.
What?
Yes. The force incident manager at Devon and Cornwall Police, who oversees all incidents across 2 counties, said the man was abusive and loud and was advised to leave the store by officers at the scene. The irate shopper, in quotes, eventually cooperated. I'm pleased it didn't end up in him being tasered or something.
Do you know what? I wish it had.
Yeah. He added the man was making a complaint about an item he had bought. Now that's interesting, because I'm looking at these gnomes. They're very clearly gay pride gnomes. If you buy it, you know what you're getting. Why would you complain afterwards? Hang on a minute. This is a gay pride gnome.
Yeah, so are we trying to... are we trying to be under the... Well, not what I'm trying to say. So we're being led to believe that he bought this gnome unaware that it was in the rainbow. I'm guessing in rainbow colours.
Well, he can't have been unaware, because I'm looking at it. The pointy hat is with gay pride striped colours, and they're holding a gay pride flag.
I'm going to have a look at this myself. Oh yes, okay, right, yeah. Right. I mean, there's no mistaking that. I mean, did he?
Well, wait.
Knows,
Alex. Here it is. The witness, who asked to remain anonymous, said the incident unfolded at around 5:30 p.m, adding that the man was alone and had a rainbow-coloured gnome in his bag. Not a euphemism. She confirmed that the gnome was the same one featured in the post below, basically the gay pride gnomes. She said, a man was causing a disturbance over a gnome, sort of gay pride flag colours, which I'm all for. The guy started saying random things like, it's a gnome, it's offended him, as they don't have a sexuality.
I mean, they do, if you look at them.
Do
Hang
they?
on, so,
no, gender is not different than sexuality. Who says they've got a sexuality? They could be asexual.
True, okay, yeah.
They're also not real. I mean, let's just get that one.
That's my more concerning point is the fact that nothing about this story makes sense. What am I talking about?
She says, I'm assuming the guy was offended as they look like they have a gender. That's the bit I caught of the situation. Asda sells a range of Pride products and in 2017 launched a multicoloured gnome in support of Pride events across the country. A spokeswoman for Asda confirmed that a member of staff called the police after a man was highly aggressive in the store. She added, we don't accept abusive or threatening behaviour towards colleagues or customers.
I don't understand. I mean, what did he expect Asda to do to make sure this gnome was gender neutral?
Say again?
I don't know. What did he expect Asda to do to ensure that these gnomes apparently were gender neutral?
I've got. Look, he's obviously homophobic. Is all I can think.
Yeah.
Cockside 245 says Pride events throughout the country are for everyone to enjoy, not just the LGBT community. So get out there and enjoy yourselves. Life is too short. But Thorma says I actually find these days it's quite intimidating, especially if you are conservative. Small or capital C. If Never Kissed a Tory t-shirts or having some wannabe Danny LaRue screaming abuse about our police personnel are your thing, then Pride in the Park is the place for you. Enjoying myself is being free of these self-obsessed narcissists. So that's your average. These are the people who are voting at the moment for Jeremy Hunt or Boris Johnson, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Donna98, just one question. Did Asda ask the gnomes if they wanted to support gay pride? After all, you have to ask babies if you can change their nappies these days. Stop shoving this shit in everyone's face. It's getting ridiculous. No one cares anymore what you want to be, but please shut up and get on with it. Very poor spelling in that comment.
What a surprise.
Cool Panda Mum says, I don't understand. If you were so offended by the gnome, then why did he purchase it? That's the bit I don't understand about this story.
I just think he went to Asda to find something to shove up his arse, and unfortunately, after he bought it, he then realised that it was supporting gay pride.
So I've just got to read this comment, Rob. Man from Mars says, many nasty anti-gay comments, the usual Little Englander Brexit party head cases. Are you lot polishing your jackboots and ironing your black shirts? Have a nice day. Can I say, the usual Little Englander Brexit party head cases is the episode title.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing that's going to beat that this week.
That's absolutely brilliant. Okay. Last story here, Rob, from the Daily Mirror. You remember Westlife, don't you, Rob?
Oh yeah, Sarah's a big fan.
Are you?
I don't mind a bit of Westlife. I mean, it's a bit sort of middle of the road generic shit, but apart from that, they've got some good songs.
I think a bit middle of the road generic shit is an understatement.
Yeah.
This is from the celeb section of the Mirror. It's by Vicky Newman, who's a senior.
Hang on, Alex. I can't let that go without some sort of question. Why were you reading the celeb section of the Mirror?
Well, I wasn't. I just came across this story somewhere on the internet. A link to it. Vicky Newman, senior celebrity reporter, from the 6th of July. Westlife left disgusted when fans sent them gift of used tampons.
Ooh.
We know your fetish. Westlife have sent plenty of weird and wonderful gifts by their fans over the years, but one particularly disgusting item still haunts Nicky Byrne. The singer told Mirror Online about the horrible moment the band were given a box of used tampons as he sat down for an exclusive chat backstage at Dublin's Grove Park. Looking back on the 20 years of the band's career, he told us about some of the strangest things fans had sent them. The 4-year-old said...
years?
Huh?
Sorry, Westlife have been around for 20 years.
Yeah,
Are you fucking kidding me?
It's frightening for us, Rob, more than anything.
Oh my God. Okay,
it won't be long before we will have been doing this podcast for 20 years.
Yeah, that's true.
The 40-year-old said, we got a delivery of a turnip one time. We didn't eat it. I know.
Why do I find that more amusing than tampons?
We didn't eat it. We wondered why, and I remember once saying in an interview that Mark had toes like turnips, and I think that's why it was sent. There was also a weighing scale sent to us one time, and we never knew that was because we were too fat or too skinny. We didn't know. Wow. We couldn't work out what they were trying to tell us about our weight. We were in Argentina one night, and it was Celtic outside the hotel with thousands of people, and we were bundled into a van, and as the door was closing, a fan threw something into the van in a plastic bag. People used to chuck cuddly toys into the van with little notes attached to them, and sometimes bras and knickers and everything else you can imagine. But this time I opened the bag and saw a box of Tampax. But the strange thing was I distinctively remember the box didn't look brand new. It looked a bit creased, like they sat on it or stood on it, so we were afraid to touch it. We opened it and there were used tampons in the box. I always remember Stephen Gately, rest him, he always used to say he got pubic hairs sent to him in the post, sellotaped to paper.
Wow.
Didn't Stephen Gately pass on?
He did pass on, yeah.
As I
think he. I can't remember exactly what happened, but I know that. It's quite sad actually.
The 39-year-old told us, I've had a few scary moments where I've got out my car outside my house at 2 a.m. and there's somebody right there in your face. Maybe it's a milk tray man, Rob.
Yeah, it could well be. Yeah, just forcing chocolates into his mouth.
Or that postman from earlier.
Yeah.
Forcing chocolates into his mouth, not a euphemism. On this tour at the start, we had people following us and hiding in the bushes at dance rehearsals. There are a few incidents where a fan hid in Shane or Mark's room and popped out after about 3 hours of them sitting there and watching TV.
3 hours?
There's been
hell.
There's been some creepy stuff in the early years. It's not like that nowadays. And then it just talks about Westlife's triumphant return to the, touring and all that bollocks. What I remember most about Westlife, Rob, was their infamous key changes. About 2/3 of the way through the song, you get a big key change and they'd stand up from the stools they always sat on, and that's when everybody would cheer and sort of glitter would fire off and all of that. It was a well-honed technique, Rob, that made them a lot of money cheaply.
Alex, absolutely. You cannot have a pop hit without a key change. Everyone knows that.
Yeah. I mean, I know you're a fan of Busted. Did they use them?
I think there was a few key changes in there. Yeah, in some of their, not some of their more well-known songs, but I think in some of the album songs, definitely.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, Rob, you got a story for us there.
Yeah, now I have to apologise because this goes back some time.
Sorry, Rob, to interrupt straight away, but I'd almost forgotten to ask you. It's very impolite of me. When I was, of course, editing the last podcast, LA 280, you were at death's door and sounded like you were. How long did you take to recover?
So that cough that I had, because I was really concerned that I would be coughing and spluttering throughout the podcast, that cough went away about 5 days ago.
So did you feel sick throughout all of Canada, or was it more like just a nuisance?
For the first couple of days, I didn't feel well at all. So I kind of dosed myself up for maybe the first 1 or 2 days. I think the sun definitely helped, but then the cough was persistent. The cough lasted through the entirety of the holiday.
You didn't make anyone else ill, did you?
Well, I know that Sarah's cousin Andrea picked up a cold, which I don't think I gave to her, hopefully. And she didn't sound well, because we spoke to her just before we headed back to the airport, and she didn't sound too good, but I'm hoping it wasn't me. So if it was Andrea, I apologise.
So basically, you just took yourself off to Canada and gave Sarah's relatives sort of viruses?
Yeah, they treated us with the utmost hospitality, and I made them sick.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, Rob, on to your stories.
Yeah, so as I was about to say, these stories go back a bit because I've had them for a while, because I think what happened was we did the listener episodes and obviously we've taken a bit of a break, so they're not particularly topical, but now these two stories are connected, so one's a follow-up to the other. They were a day apart. The first story is from the 3rd of June from the East Anglian Daily Times, which is a paper, again, we've never featured, although the journalist of Sophie Barnett, I feel we have covered before. So, this relates to Trump's visit to the UK back in June. And the headline.
Was that only in June? I mean, my God, that feels like it was a long time ago now.
Yeah. I mean, literally, it was last month.
Okay. So, the racist Donald Trump's visit to the UK, yep.
Yep. And the headline, "You've got some balls. Student Mo's stiff anti-Trump message into President's Stansted flight path."
Okay. Well, okay, I want to know. What did he do?
So, a teenage artist from Essex has greeted Donald Trump with a rather ballsy climate change message as the US President arrives at Stansted Airport for his state visit. Ollie Nannencowell, 18, from Hatfield Heath, spent his weekend mowing a giant message into the grass of his family home for Trump's arrival.
But I don't think Trump was looking out the window, was he? He was just... I mean,
well, you never know. I mean, I love the idea that his plane's coming into land, and I'm guessing you could have seen this from quite high up, because he's obviously done it on quite a scale. So the Essex artist, who is part of the sustainability and the environmental awareness group Born Eco, wants to make his point ahead of Trump's arrival. He said, "I wanted to protest to Trump about his denial of climate change. I'm an artist, so I use the garden as my canvas to get my point across. My generation and beyond will suffer as a direct consequence of his policies. So the art student mode, climate change is real, into the grass accompanied by a polar bear, along with a rude message which reads, Oi Trump, next to a giant male genital. He mowed a massive penis into his family's lawn.
Was it the typical penis that people used to draw when they were in school? With the ball and the sort of phallus and maybe something emanating from the spout.
I would urge you to Google. If you just Google, where is it? Born Eco, and then maybe Oi Trump, because Alex, it's a phallus that we all know and love. It's a thing of beauty, and this guy is clearly talented because, yeah, it must have taken some time to carve this out of the grass.
yeah. Do you know what that reminds you? Like I can't remember. Was it the Normans? I don't remember when it was around. But there are certain places in Britain where you've got those
giants.
The what? Sorry,
the giants, and it carved into the rock. You mean?
Yeah,
I'm going to anticipate what you're going to say.
No, into the hill, literally into green fields like this.
So there's a place.
Was it Norman? Was it the Normans?
I don't know. I think it's probably before them. But so yeah, there is the Cerne Abbas giant. Which I think is Somerset. Possibly no, it's not. It's Devon. I do apologise.
I've been to them. You see, so
yeah, and he's famously known for having an erection.
That's it. Yeah. I never forgot his cock.
No. I mean, it's quite sizable, Alex. No, I don't think you could. So
it actually says, "Oi, Trump, climate change is real."
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so there's
this is huge. What he's done.
I mean, if you can see the penis, you can see that there's looks like there's two people lying in the middle of the two testes, and also there's two people lying at the crown.
The only thing I take issue with him is I think the word "oi" was a mistake. That is not an American sort of slang term. Oi.
I mean, Alex, he's drawn a cock that's literally about 50 foot. There's only so much you can write on that field.
Yeah, fair point.
So Ollie's protest is one of many planned across the UK during Trump's visits. The US president will be hosted by the Queen at Buckingham Palace. Blah, blah, blah.
Right, this is really old news now, Rob.
Okay, the follow-up story. So, ballsy anti-Trump message changed into sea turtle after teenager visited by police.
What? The police visited?
Yeah.
You're not allowed to do this? Well, if the fucking Normans or whatever could do it and we now preserve it as some sort of, for time immemorial, why can't he do it?
Yeah, but I'm guessing when the Normans did it, it wasn't trying to antagonise, I don't know, who would it have been? That King Harold, it might have been, I don't know.
And we could be getting our history really fucked up.
Yeah, I've no idea.
Let's tread carefully. But okay, tell me about the police visited him.
So it took some balls to.
Excuse me, sir. Could you take the giant cock off your lawn? Because surely in this great land, Rob, this is the kind of thing that I'm sure that would make Nigel Farage angry. And it's making me angry because surely, Rob, what a man chooses to etch into his garden is up to him.
Absolutely.
If I want to etch a giant cock in there, it should be up to me, no?
No, I completely agree. As far as I'm concerned, this is private land and it's freedom of expression. What's wrong with that? What's he actually done?
Okay, then, but to throw that back at you, could you use a lawnmower to write a highly racist, offensive message into your lawn?
You could, but then you'd have to suffer the consequences.
So doesn't that also apply with a cock?
Well, potentially. I mean, I suppose it depends who's offended by it, really. But also, I think from the ground, it'd be very, very difficult to get an idea of what's actually scored onto the land. The only way you'd actually see it is from there. So it took some balls to produce, but now an 18-year-old who mowed a rude anti-Trump message into a field has changed it to something a little less controversial after a visit from the police. So Ollie, Nana Cowell from...
Can I just check with you? I'm assuming it was a knock on the door visit from the police and not a dawn raid where they battered down the door, woke up the family, dragged him out, tasered him, put him in the back of a car. That would have been good.
It honestly doesn't say, although it does say right. Essex police are looking into this matter to establish whether any offences have been committed, which I really hope they haven't.
Because just talk about the milk trailer, I'm just thinking about men in black sweeping through the windows, SWAT team, shooting the family dead.
And the family never
like
heard
a security risk, because Trump could have really kicked off about it. I mean, if Trump had seen this, he would have tweeted about it,
Yeah, I think that's probably true. But I mean, for all we know, this family are now hauled up in Guantanamo, so it's a possibility.
Can you imagine? Extradited.
Yeah, I mean, in this time that we are living in, is that really beyond the possibility?
And just in case President Trump is listening, I just want to say, that... No, I'm not going to say anything nice. I'm just going to say that,
I think, let's not say anything too contentious. I mean, let's not lie about ourselves.
No, Rob, this is Britain.
Is it?
Freedom of speech and all that. No, he's a racist. We've just had today. I don't know if you saw, but I mean, I know that everybody now is so desensitized to stuff. But this is the first time, a brilliant actually correspondent on BBC was saying, who was out in America. This is the first time in living definitely since the 19th century, that you've had an American president. Because it's not just about the tweets that he sent out about those 4 women. Yep. It's now at this rally yesterday. You had people chanting, "Send her back," and he said nothing. Saw the video. That's the first time. This is now new territory.
I completely agree, and I also saw Kellyanne Conway questioning the ethnicity of one of the reporters. Did you happen to see this?
Yeah.
I mean,
what's amazing about Kellyanne Conway is her husband is virulently anti-Trump.
Yeah,
I just is a complete thorn in him. I mean, he tweets out every day slamming this guy, and she works for him.
I just can't see how that relationship works at all, unless she is just a stooge.
It might be quite dysfunctional, or
Yeah, well, yeah, that's more than likely. Okay, so Ollie Nancarrow from Hatfield Heath hit the headline after he spent his weekend mowing a powerful climate change message into the grass of his family home, just 10 minutes from Stansted Airport, blah, blah, blah. Let me just go down, we know all this. Ollie has since changed the picture of the male genitals into a sea turtle. He said, "The police heavily advised that I change it because it could breach the Public Decency Act. The turtle further symbolises climate change and how it affects nature." Then it just goes on about Trump's visit. So
I like the phrase heavily. What was it? Heavily persuaded.
Heavily. Where is it?
Or heavily suggested.
Heavily advised.
Heavily advised sounds like being held by a collar up against the wall and being screamed at in your face.
But also, I mean, given it's relating to Trump, is there good possibility? Is there? I mean, it did say it was Essex Police, but I just wonder if it was members of the Secret Service. Just imagine this, just imagine the beast pulling up outside his house, and then these Secret Service agents are just surrounding the house and just pulling him out in the as you rightly say, in the depths of night, and just screaming in his face.
Yeah, waterboarding him in his paddling pool in the garden.
Yeah.
Okay.
Terrifying.
You got another story for us there, Rob?
Yeah. So we're staying in Essex for this one. So my second story is from the Essex Live. It was from the 30th of July, so still relatively recent. By Brad Gray. Meerkats escape from Southend Sea Life Adventure Wild after idiot wrecks enclosure.
Okay. My biggest question from that is, what the fuck are meerkats doing in a place called Sea Life?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think that's a strong question to start with.
Are there water meerkats that I don't know about?
No, I think someone got confused now, just in a tank swimming about for their lives.
You just reminded me of water, and I just did want to say to the listeners that, do you remember when we had all those stories about, or that story about the person who wanted to become a real-life mermaid?
Oh, God, yeah, you're going to mention that story,
and that you sent me a story afterwards about... Rob said, I don't think we can feature this on the podcast, but it's brilliant. And it was this story about one of these people who pretends to be a mermaid being harpooned and killed somewhere because he thought it was a real mermaid. And Rob, it only took one quick go to that site to see. I mean, every headline there was brilliant, but it was because they were all fake. But it was a brilliant site.
Alex, I can't tell anymore.
This is it. Lost. This is it. Yeah.
I mean, is it people are seriously wanting to be mermaids? Is it beyond the possibility that unfortunately one got harpooned? This is the age we live in.
Tell me about the meerkats.
So, a group of meerkats were seen scampering along Southend seafront last night after they escaped from a nearby zoo. I just love that there's a really pissed What do you call something from Essex? A saurian? I don't know what it is. Just somebody that's coming out of the pub and just stumbling on his way home, and literally a meerkat runs past him, and he thinks he's hallucinating, and then jumps in the sea.
Yeah.
It's all possible.
Yeah.
So videos circulating on social media taken by shocked onlookers show the critters running along the marine parade away from their homes at the Sea Life Adventure Centre. It's now
sorry, what are meerkats doing in Sea Life?
Well, it's called the Sea Life Adventure Wild, so I'm assuming it's a combination of sea life and wild creatures. But
so it's basically a couple of fish in a pond and some meerkats.
Yeah, a lot, and I can only imagine what are a lot of very depressed-looking foreign creatures or alien creatures to this country. Not aliens. I should just say that the Sea Life Centre in Southend do not have aliens.
Yeah, John Mooner, stop packing your bags.
Yeah. It's emerged that an intruder broke into the zoo and destroyed the purpose-built meerkat enclosure. Staff at the centre. Why would you do that?
I've just got this image. What do you mean destroyed it? It was just some man. He's like, what would you destroy an enclosure with, Rob?
I mean,
he just goes in there. What would you do it with?
Well, there's a picture of the enclosure, which is, if you can imagine, there's sand on the floor. There's a few rocks, a few like random logs placed around the place. All you'd need is some sort of hammer. Even if you just jumped in and started kicking stuff around, that'd be sufficient.
Isn't he on CCTV, or did they not set up for that?
I think it does say. Hang on a second.
Did the meerkats not like being filmed?
No, it's against their human rights, Alex.
Their meerkat rights, Rob.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. It doesn't say anything about CCTV. Sorry, I do apologise. It does say that.
Do your research, Rob.
Sorry. It's now emerged that an intruder... I just read that. Staff at the centre were alerted by an intruder alarm and CCTV images. The company, which also owns Adventure Island, has offered a cash reward for information that could lead to the arrest of the individual responsible. A statement released by the Sea Life Adventure Wild read, "An idiot decided to break into the Sea Life Adventure Wild." Nice use of the word idiot there. And proceeded to wreck the purpose-built meerkat enclosure, allowing the meerkats to escape onto the seafront, putting both our meerkats and the public at risk. I don't know I don't know whether they attack meerkats. I really don't know.
I would love if some meerkats mugged some people on the promenade.
I mean, that'd be a lovely.
Sorry, where is this water in Essex? Am I getting confused?
It's Southend.
Right, so Essex is really big, is it?
Well, Southend, which by the way it has the world's longest pier at 1 mile. That's right, a mile pier. Is on the Thames estuary.
Oh right, so it's okay. So hang on. Sorry, is there a beach there?
Yeah, is there a beach there? I think it's a pebble. I haven't been there for about 2 years. I think it's a pebble beach. It's a bit like Brighton.
Southend. That's my geography here. Oh right, Southend-on-Sea.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Right. Oh, wow.
The pier is so long, there's actually a train that takes you from one end to the other.
So Essex is fucking massive.
Oh, yeah, it's a huge county, yeah.
Weren't you born in Chelmsford, Rob?
No, Cheltenham.
That's it.
Yeah. Close, though.
Is it?
Just in case... Go on.
Cheltenham isn't close to Chelmsford, is it? Not geographically.
No, not at all. But I meant they just sound relatively similar.
Okay.
Just in case anyone was concerned, the meerkats were luckily found and returned by staff later that night with help from nearby police officers and Adventure Island staff. And the last line, which I just
they were sedated, and the enclosure was made bigger. Because how do we know the meerkats didn't? How do we know, Rob, that the meerkats didn't escape? And this is their. They don't want to say. They don't want to say these meerkats are unhappy, so they make up this excuse. I think these meerkats are trying to get the fuck out of there. They're like, we're not aquatic animals. We don't belong here.
Yep, I think that's fair. I just to finish off the story, just want to read this last line. The last meerkat to be rounded up was found hiding by the Adventure Island's mini golf kiosk.
Sorry, hiding?
Yeah. Do
meerkats hide? That suggests it really didn't want to go back, Rob.
I just think it wanted a round of golf just before. I mean, is that so much to ask?
I don't know. I just wondered if they Presumably zoos have to take out insurance policies in case something like this happens and they lose their animals.
I assume so, although, I mean, certain zoos, I can't imagine Eagle Heights taking out insurance policies.
But I'm just wondering if, compare the meerkat and all of that.
Oh, God.
We're involved.
Let's not go there.
I've really struggled to find a way to shoehorn that in, but if you'd like to sponsor us, Compare the Market, then please get in touch. Rob, before we get on to that listener story that I'm sure you've got cooking for us there, it's really important, Rob, to say that, look, if I get this edited quickly, presumably this will go out tomorrow.
Yes, yeah.
That tomorrow will be the 19th of July, when hopefully you may or may not be listening to this. But Rob, a few short days after that, we're going to find out in this wonderful... Rob, as you know, the whole reason why Brexit is so important, Rob, is to take back control of our democracy.
Absolutely.
We've lost our democracy, Rob, to Europe. We can't make our own laws. We can't do anything by ourselves, Rob. We're a vassal state.
It's a disgrace, Alex.
And so, as you know, in a few days' time, we are going to see the results of a beautiful process of democracy, Rob, where 160,000 mainly white old people will decide who's going to be the Prime Minister of our country, out of a population of 70 plus million.
Alex, I'm going to have to stop you because I'm on the verge of vomiting.
Right.
Just through sheer fear.
I do just want to read you, Rob, a very interesting story from today's Guardian about Boris Johnson by Mark Lawson, very respected journalist, because a number of years ago, Boris Johnson wrote a novel called 72 Virgins.
What?
Yes. 72 Virgins, A Comedy of Errors, this was the name of the book, came out at the start of September 2004 when Johnson was MP for Henley, Shadow Arts Minister and simultaneously editor of The Spectator. I imagine that's when he was doing the Have I Got News For You appearances, actually.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right.
It was a hostage thriller in which an ambulance plays the role of the wooden horse the Greeks built to fool the Trojans. 72 Virgins is structurally audacious. 336 pages cover just 3.5 hours in Westminster, during which a terrorist group of suicide bombers, whom the narrative voice calls Islamo-fascists, targets the visiting US president as he gives a speech in Westminster Hall. This assassination massacre plan is stumbled upon by Roger Barlow, Rob, a bicycling Tory MP known for his tousled hair, classical allusions and flapping shirt tails.
Sorry.
So basically, Roger Barlow is a stand-in for Boris Johnson.
Is Boris just trying to lay the groundwork for a potential film? Because this is all shaping up quite nicely at this point in time.
As the story develops, he sees the chance to make himself such a global hero that the media will judge it futile to publish the latest thing he doesn't want to tell his wife.
Oh my God, this is exactly what's happening!
It may be no great surprise, Rob, that the novel is fundamentally undiplomatic. Few readers would seem to come to the conclusion that the author would or should subsequently become the UK Foreign Secretary. If Johnson ever attends the G20 World Leaders Summit, he will have to hope that the President of France has not been briefed about the duplicitous, imperially arrogant role played by the French in Johnson's novel, which makes his more recent reported description of the nation's politicians as turds look kindly. Most strikingly, from an author born in New York and who's expressed admiration for Donald Trump, the book is relentlessly anti-American, repeatedly describing the UK-US special relationship as a farce. This is because Johnson, at the time of writing, was advocating as a journalist the prosecution for war crimes in Iraq of Tony Blair and George W. Bush, who is clearly the president in the novel, although never named, perhaps because the publishers worried about the tastefulness of depicting a serving leader as a victim of terrorist violence. For reasons unclear, Johnson even twice breaks the flow of his book to have a go at Sierra Leone. None of the racial rhetoric stoops as revoltingly low as some of the other stuff he says, so we don't have any of that in there, but there are some comic riffs on the promise to jihadists of a posthumous reward orgy that gives 72 Virgins its title, plus references to Islamic head cases, in quotes, and Islamic nutcases. Arabs are casually noted to have hook noses and slanty eyes, and a mixed-race Briton is called coffee-coloured, and there are mentions of pikeys and people who are half-caste. If this prose tone sounds older than 2004, it may be because the book seems to be attempting a stylistic marriage between the upper-class farce of P.G. Wodehouse and the anti-liberal social sexual comedy of Tom Sharp. It's important to acknowledge, says this author Rob, that novelists do not necessarily share the views of their characters. Noxious opinions may be ventriloquised for narrative or satirical purposes. However, Johnson's fictional style is so undisciplined, moving in and out of viewpoints into which a boomingly familiar authorial voice often intrudes for several pages, that it's impossible to separate him from all or even many of the ideologically provocative comments. Now, Rob, this is the good stuff. The novel's attitude to women is so sexist that if Johnson fails to gain the premiership, he could have a good bet to screenwrite the recently announced new string of Carry On movies. I counted 20 occasions on which women enter the narrative. Each time the narrator or character looks them up and down, fawing over them, to take a representative selection, and these are the sort of adjectives: tits out, lustrous eyes, long legs, in quotes, Rob, a mega-titted 6-footer.
I mean, under what? Sorry,
wait,
I
loads of pretty white teeth and good teeth and blonde hair and an unambiguously exuberant bosom. One woman.
Can we not make that the episode title?
Oh, I don't know. The one was good earlier. In this one woman's comment is attributed to premenstrual irrationality.
Yep, fair.
In this context, appearances from a girly swat and a woman who looks like a lingerie model, this is in quotes, only cleverer and, if anything, with bigger breasts, count relatively as feminism. In the last third of the book, the plotting becomes rushed and the prose sloppy, and there are several printing and grammatical errors and sentences that literally don't make sense.
So he just gave up towards the end.
Yeah. And then he makes the point that our subconscious is so involved in the percolation of fiction that novelists often disclose more than they know or intend. And this is brilliant, Rob. This is a gem. He says, perhaps only Sigmund Freud could tell us why Johnson named a young woman whom after his alter ego Barlow lusts Cameron. So the character that is standing for him lusts after this woman in the book, who's called Cameron. And of course, David Cameron was his Eton and Oxford contemporary who became his most bitter Tory rival.
Yeah, because I remember there was... Do you remember the Channel 4 made a show about this? It was a kind of a spoof sort of mockumentary about their relationship at Eton, followed by... It was Oxford, yeah. So, because I think they were both members of the Bullingdon Club.
But Rob, what do you make of that then? That he's lusting after a woman and he's chosen to call her Cameron?
Doesn't surprise me in the slightest, Alex. Nothing surprises me when it comes to Boris.
And what he writes is, Rob, to a man like Roger Barlow, this is in the book, the whole world just seemed to be a complicated joke. Everything was always up for grabs, capable of dispute, and religion, laws, principle, custom, these were nothing but sticks from the wayside to support our faltering steps.
It just goes to show that, and there was a good article in The Guardian a few weeks about this, that no one knows Boris Johnson.
Oh no.
The man is an enigma, as much as you think you know him, and especially to any... I don't think we have many Tory listeners listen to this podcast. I'd be surprised if we do. But the man is an enigma. Honestly, the only thing he is concerned about is his own political career. He doesn't give a shit about Brexit. He doesn't give a shit about this country. He cares about him and himself.
Well, he's always wanted to be Prime Minister, hasn't he, Rob? And let's be honest, the likelihood is... almost 99.99% he will be. But it could be a very, very short-lived premiership. I mean, that could be the irony of this.
I suspect it will. Yeah, which I really am hoping for. Although, once again, if that is the case, I mean, even the alternative... Although there's not many worse than Boris, actually, apart from Jacob Rees-Mogg.
Yeah. Let's not go there, Rob.
Can I also just raise one other point? Sorry.
Yeah.
Are the Carry On films coming back, did you say?
Yes, Rob, in this era of Me Too, Carry On films, they thought this is a great idea. Let's bring them back.
Are we seriously going back to the 1960s? When the fuck did this happen? How did I miss this? I'm sorry.
I think it was Jacob Rees-Mogg's idea. Anyway, Rob, listen, just for time, Rob. Oh man, we got to wrap this up. Okay, it is time for our listener story of the week.
So this week it is from Amy. It was originally from the Skegness Standard, but as the website required me to sign up, I've taken it from the Lincolnshire Live website. And it's from the 28th of June 2019 by Peter Hennessy. And the headline: where did they come from? Mysterious gnomes spotted around Skegness.
Sorry, this is our second gnome story of the week.
Yeah. Again, dovetails nicely.
Okay.
So
maybe this man who bought the gnomes then put them around Skegness.
No, they're kind of they're what's it called? They're a bit like Face of Strange. In fact, they're graphic artwork printed onto walls.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Residents in Skegness have been left baffled after a number of mysterious gnome stickers have appeared. Around 8 or 9 of the pint-sized pieces of art have been spotted stuck onto different walls in and around the heart of the town. Eagle-eyed Barry Robinson, who owns the Light Bites Cafe, snapped pictures of the comedic gnomes, which have caused a stir amongst the locals. The gnomes are pictured in a variety of positions. One can be seen with his feet up and sleeping, while another is depicted sat on the toilet. While they have seemingly appeared out of nowhere, people say they're happy to see them dotted around Skegness.
How do we know it's not Face of Strange?
Good point. That's a very good point. People have been alluding that it could also be Banksy. Maybe he's gone on holiday. I think that's highly unlikely, but who knows? Mr. Robinson says, "I think it's a cracking idea. It's getting the kids out and about, looking for them. They're not sprayed on. They're sort of like stickers. I reckon it's just a bit of fun." Another person
what's the
chimed
gnomes
in.
meant to represent? I mean, I don't think it is Banksy. What's the political? I don't understand. What is the purpose of this?
I think they're just artworks, Alex. I don't think you should read into it.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything more than that.
So you're saying that this is just completely meaningless. In which case, why did somebody do it?
But they're nice, Alex. They're very, as it says, comedic, just joyful little gnome artworks.
I think I've got to see this for myself so I can interpret it, Rob.
You have a look. I'll keep reading the story. So another person chimed in with, "They're brilliant. I want one painted on my fence." One poster said, "Hope they're still there in August when we come down. Boys would love this." The gnomes have been seen in a variety of locations, including by the new Atlantis Golf Course, by Skegness Beach, and some fairy doors by Hindred Shopping Centre. Fairy doors, that sounds familiar. We've covered a story with fairy doors before. Anyway.
Okay. I'm having a look at them now. They're that little like gnomes, and they're very cartoon-like. I've got one here holding a big ice cream.
Yeah, they've got the hashtag.
Another one's having a sleep.
Yeah, so apparently the artist is the Goblin King, because I've just seen it on the bottom.
It's not. I don't think it's Banksy, but there's one on the toilet looking at a phone.
Yeah. Also to say, the new mayor of Skegness, Councillor Mark Dannant, has even stopped for to pose the picture with one of them. He went on to say, "No one knows who's responsible for placing the gnomes around Skegness, though one person said, surely Banksy hasn't come to Skegness?" And we, on the podcast, would like to say, no, he hasn't.
Well, somebody said in the local area, made a pun and said, because they want to find out who did it, and they said, "We need Sherlock Gnomes to investigate."
No.
There's a strange picture here of one of the gnomes. Have you seen this one that looks like there's a sort of rather muscly sort of gnome lying on the floor looking like he's being buggered by a shark?
No, I haven't got that picture, Alex. Are you sure we're still looking at the same website?
I'm going to hold it up now to the camera. You tell me. I can't quite what.
Oh my God! Yeah, but
there's something impaling him there. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what's going on there.
Okay, Rob. On that note, we bring this episode of LA Podcast to a close, Rob, and we look forward with a mixture of eager anticipation yet trepidation to our next episode, which will be episode 282, Rob, as we move ever more forward. One week I just want to be able to remember my own stories, Rob.
A postman taking aim at an upstairs window. And then...
like a man buying a gay pride gnome in Asda, making the purchase, paying the money, only to thereafter complain about said gnome in a highly aggressive manner and need to be escorted. Actually, no, Rob, we move ever more forward, surely. Surely we move ever more forward, Rob, like a man mowing a giant penis onto his lawn to protest against Trump, only to be woken in the middle of the night by American Secret Service SWAT team bursting in through the window, dragging his family out onto the front garden, waterboarding him in the family paddling pool, and insisting he changed that penis into a turtle.
Absolutely.
Just like that, we move forward to our next episode, which, as I say, will be 282. Rob, I did forget one very important piece of news. I can't read you the story. Can't read you the story, Rob. Just got to read you the headline. It's from the Mirror. Can't really go into the story, but do have to report his headline. Grunting man, Rob, wearing gimp suit, terrifies villagers by jumping out in front of them. Unfortunately, we can't read that story out this week.
You can't leave me with that.
And also, the picture is genuinely terrifying.
Amazing.
Genuinely, Rob. Fucking hell. I mean, I do recommend people go and look up the story about man in a gimp suit terrifying villagers.
Next week, Alex. Read it next week.
I can't. The content, it wasn't appropriate, Rob, but the headline was good enough. Yes, so we do move on to our next episode, 282. We can be found on our website, which is lapodcast.net. We are on Facebook at facebook.com/lapodcast. We're on Twitter at lapodcast, and you can get in touch with us, any of those methods, but if you want to send us a story, you can tweet it, post it on Facebook, or email us a good old-fashioned way at lapodcast.net@gmail.com. I do want to put a plug out again for the website where there's a PayPal button, because if you want to donate to this podcast, give us a tip or leave a monthly donation, a rolling donation to support the endeavours that Rob and I do, please, we'd really appreciate it. Just hit that button and do that. And also just to say, of course, on your podcast app, hit subscribe wherever you find us, on YouTube, Spotify, whatever. Just subscribe to us. It really helps raise our profile. We really appreciate that, because we are on Spotify as well. But Rob, I think we've got a couple of minutes remaining. Are we going to end this on a theme, spelling out anaesthetic for the listeners?
Let's just keep it simple. Let's just go with countries, Alex.
No. We've done that in the past, so we can't do that again.
Okay. I didn't have any themes prepared, Alex. I'll be completely honest. Okay. Things you'd find in the bathroom.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll start then. So this is how you spell anaesthetic. We're going to do it for you. So things you find in the bathroom. Oh God. Ajax.
Nice. Nail polish.
I don't know if I can let that slide.
What's wrong with that? Okay, nail remover. Nail clippers.
Arse paper.
Nice, yeah.
Can I have that? I can't have that. What's something else beginning with A?
Yeah, something else, Alex.
I can't think of anything else beginning with A in the bathroom.
Antiseptic cream.
Antiseptic cream.
Ethanol.
What?
No, I can't. That's not. Eucalyptus paste.
Something. Okay, shower gel.
Toothpaste.
Hair shampoo.
Earbuds. Not earbuds.
Yeah.
Ears. You'd find ears.
Toilet paper.
Insect repellent.
What kind of bathroom have you got over there? And a cock flannel. On that note, we look forward to speaking to you, speaking to you, whatever, next week, and I'm sure you enjoy listening to us too. God bless.
And keep it local.